Namaste, y'all. Wanted to share something about my experience of throughout my life. And I always want to be in a relationship. And I had this undercurrent of programming within myself that I always want to be in a relationship. And it was always running in the background that I always wanted to be, so I didn't grow old alone. And it was this big thing. Well, anyway, in April of 2023, I went out with the last person that I've been out with. And he was 28 years old, and I discovered he had a drug problem, some mental illness, and things that I didn't know about. And it just made me just want to go away from all of it and heal. And I have. And one of the things that I've discovered is the programming that, oh my God, if you grew up in the 80s, there's such a programming of getting married and having the stability of being in a relationship. If you go to Mexico and you're single, men will quiz you about, like, where's your husband? Oh my God, you're single. Like, and even in Europe, Italy, they're like, you're alone. What? Like, there's something wrong if you're not coupled up by a certain age, right? And so what I realized for myself is that I had to heal the trauma of my childhood and all of the sexual trauma that I've developed, that I experienced as a child, and as I experienced doing things as a teenager that I was not supervised well, and did things that really hurt me. And then as I grew older, getting into tantra a lot of times creates more trauma and sexual trauma because you're seeking something, and it brings out a lot of people who are sexual addicts and have other issues. So it's all a journey. You can't do it wrong. But I will say this. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I don't have this idea of what am I going to do to meet somebody or to go on a date, or I think of any of that. I relish the time with my animals. I enjoy my free time. I love filling all of my time up with all the things that I love to do, all the things I like to eat. I can do anything I want. And I was supposed to vacuum today, but the weather's changing. My hands hurt. I don't care. I'm going to just enjoy my life. And there's nobody in my life that's going to tell me what to do or how to be. Everybody that I've ever been with in my life, in some way or another, was trying to change who I am. And that is never going to happen. I am a powerful force of nature. I am divinely gifted, and I am extremely radiant, and I will never dim my light again. And I'm not saying I'm not going to, find love someday, but I'm never going to dim my light in order to have someone in my life so that I feel the security that I already possess within me, and developing my own inner male. I worked with a lot of wonderful people like Kika Marionetti to develop my inner male. And so the new earth is within. The moment is now to be your best self and to do what you love. It doesn't mean you're going to be happy all the time. I mean, somebody's trying to kill my tree and I'm not happy right now, but I am joyful. I am grateful. My time is mine, right? So, all right. So I hope this turned out pretty good, because I was going to go on live and talk about this, but it hits close to home. When you listen to the programming underneath because I was dating somebody that was polyamory. I was too, and this idea of being open about how you feel, I was very open about, no, I would like this relationship to turn into something else, but it was never going to be that. And there's this weird passive aggressive thing going on, because the reality is it every time a man or a woman does not get the kind of commitment and the kind of cheerleader and the kind of person that loves you up, you know? Like, I had a little dog named Remus, and he was my Elvis dog. And he just loved me up. He looked at me like I was Elvis, and he would give me a hug every morning. And it was just this liquid love. Well, that should be the kind of relationships we have. And if they're not adding to your equation, then why in the world would you take away from your equation to give to them so that the what? So they'll stick around? Eh. Anyway, namaste, y'all. Namaste.